6 times I tried to buy a small business. 6 times an SBA underwriter said no. 6 different industries, 6 different reasons. One underlying problem I couldn't see. In the next 7 minutes, I'll give you the 5 lessons each deal taught me. Lessons you can use whether or not you ever buy a business. And after each one, I'm going to ask you a question about your own life, because the lesson only counts if you turn it on yourself. Here's the first thread you need to hold on to. Every deal I looked at had a transition plan. The owner promised to consult for 6 months. Key employees promised to stay for a year, contingent on retention bonuses. The SBA underwriters eventually taught me what those plans actually were. A business that needs the owner to stay for 6 months is a business that can't survive without them. That's the thread under all 5 lessons. Hold on to it. The first deal was an agency, real revenue, real client list. As I went deeper, I realized the owner wasn't pricing the business at true valuation. He was pricing it to clear the balance on his SBA loan. He needed an exit more than he needed the right buyer. The price wasn't reflecting the business. It was reflecting his need. What in your life right now is priced not by its real value, but by what you need to escape. The job you're staying in because of the comp. The relationship you're protecting because leaving costs too much. The version of yourself you're settling for because changing feels expensive. The price you set tells you what you're trying to leave behind. Most of us are selling something at a discount we haven't admitted to ourselves yet. The second and fourth deals taught me the same lesson. Structural rules above your head can take everything. Deal 2 was an e-commerce business selling exclusively on Amazon. Profitable, but the analytics revealed 2 prior compliance infractions and 1 cure on record. One more breach would trigger Amazon to close the store entirely. The business was a permission, not an asset. Deal 4 was a commercial cleaning franchise. Real revenue, established territory. But if a client won a government contract and was assigned to a building inside another franchisee's territory, you handed the work over. You didn't solicit it. You couldn't keep it. Both businesses ran inside someone else's rules. The owner didn't write the contract. The owner couldn't change the contract. The owner just lived under it. What rules above your head govern your life, your career, your income, your safety that you've never actually read? Whose terms of service are you living under? Your employers, your platforms, your industry regulators, your relationships' unspoken expectations. And here's the harder question. What happens if those terms change without warning? The people who survive disruption are the ones who knew the rules they were living under. The rest of us discover the rules at the moment they're enforced against us. The third deal taught me the most painful lesson of the 6. It was an insurance brokerage. The owner had spent 15 years building his book selling policies into the Middle Eastern community. He wanted to sell to a buyer who'd continue serving that community. His transition plan looked perfect. 6 months of consulting, his key producer promised to stay for a full year with a retention bonus. On paper, no risk visible. Then I sat with the customers. The Middle Eastern community operates on trust. Trust that took 15 years to build between people, families, generations. And trust doesn't transfer with a wire. The retention bonus would expire. The key producer would eventually leave. The relationships? They were never tied to the brokerage. They were tied to one man. What relationships in your life are tied to you specifically? Not to your title, not to your role, not to your circumstances. Those are the only assets that come with you. When you change jobs, when you leave companies, when you retire, when you move cities, everything else stays behind. And here's the harder truth. Most of us spend decades building things that stay behind and almost no time building the things that come with us. The fifth deal was different. A printing shop franchise. Industry risk was low. The transition plan was clean. This time the deal didn't die at the SBA. It died at every lender we approached. The SBA wouldn't touch it. Creative lenders wouldn't touch it. CDFIs wouldn't touch it. As we dug in, the existing franchisees' personal financials had quiet problems that didn't surface until late underwriting. The owner had been hiding them, not from us, from himself. He'd convinced himself things were fine. What are you hiding from yourself? Not from other people, from yourself. The truth about your relationship, the financial situation you keep almost fixing, the career path you know isn't working, the health symptom you keep meaning to check. We're all hiding something from ourselves. The thing you can almost name but won't articulate is usually the thing quietly blocking what you say you want most. The SBA can see what we can't see in ourselves. So can the people who tell us hard truths? The question isn't whether others see it. The question is when we'll be willing to look. The sixth deal broke my heart. A two-business deal, a movie production company and its post-production sister. I'd been studying the industry for months. I'd anticipated traditional industry risk. I'd built a detailed plan to expand internationally. And then the rejection side is something I hadn't even considered. AI had encroached into VFX. VFX was 60% of the post-production company's annual revenue. The technology that had been a curiosity 18 months earlier was now eating the business model in real time. I had prepared for every risk I already understood. I had not prepared for the risk that was just arriving. Where in your life are you only watching the risks you already understand? Most disruption doesn't come from the place you're guarding. It comes from the edge you weren't looking at, the skill set that became obsolete while you specialized harder, the industry shift you read about but didn't apply to yourself. The technology you dismissed as hype until it was eating your category. Anticipating known risk is half the work. The other half is staying close enough to the edges to see new risk arriving. 5 lessons from 6 deals. Underneath all of them is the one thread I gave you at the start. Every deal had a transition plan. Every transition plan was a confession that the business couldn't survive its key people leaving. That's the question this whole experience taught me to ask of every business and every life. What survives when the key person walks out? That question is why I built 3 products. Lattice OS to capture institutional knowledge before it leaves. Foundry Finance because sellers exaggerate intrinsic value and buyers need a way to see the truth before they sign. Deal Check because due diligence costs too much to keep doing it the old way. 3 products, 6 deals, 1 question, what survives? 1 question for the comments. Of the 5 lessons, which one made you uncomfortable in a way that meant something? I read every comment. The best ones become future videos. If you're new here, this channel, VBS, is where I take real experience and pull out wisdom you can use. Subscribe if that's what you want. I'll see you in the next one.